Hi, good afternoon. Welcome. You're watching Your Stocks. I'm Sumaira Abdi, and with me is my colleague Mangalam Malu. Well, for the market, the going is good, but there's important news coming through on that Kotak Mahindra Bank versus RBI case. The Bombay High Court has adjourned that case now to the 22nd of April. Remember, this is the case that deals with the promoter stake dilution issue, where Kotak Mahindra Bank had alleged that the regulator was unfairly creating an impression that the lender was trying to further promoter Uday Kotak's interest. Anyway, so it's we have to wait now till the 22nd of April to find out what happens over there. But for now, that's the update. Nevertheless, stocks doing well, the market doing well. The Sensex passed the 39,000 mark again, 350 points higher on that one. The Nifty at 11,700. So that's about what, I guess, 60 points away from a record high. Let's see if we get that today. The mid-cap index up about 8-9% So it's the frontline indices have caught up with the mid-cap index now, and the banking stocks doing well as well, though not as well as we've seen over the last few days. There's Reliance, ICICI Bank, L&T, all of those stocks are overshadowing the banking lot a tad bit today, but the index higher by about 0.25%.
Absolutely, Sumaira. You know, the wait for that elusive 11,760 mark on the Nifty remains while the Sensex is at a record high. But just as we speak, an eye out on the European markets, they're doing fairly well. So across the European region, we're seeing a gain of about 1.5% on all the frontline indices. They're at the high point of the day, and the Dow futures is indicating a gain of about 200 points as well. So good going for the global market too. First up, all the top stories, and then we get cracking on your individual stock and investment related queries. Market yanked up by strong manufacturing data coming in from China. Sensex and the Nifty bank scale fresh peaks in early trade. The Nifty trades just shy of record highs. The metal stocks, IT, ICICI Bank and Tata Motors lead. Mid-cap index in line.
IndusInd Bank's Ramesh Sopti expects loan growth to stabilize between 25 to 30%, says they have grabbed CV market share, and adds that the bank is willing to consider acquisitions in the wealth management domain.
Maruti shares gain after March sales rise almost 7% from the last month, in line with what the street was working with. Maruti chairman R.C. Bhargava says he expects sales to pick up over the next few months. Ashok Leyland too sees good month-on-month improvement in sales, while Mahindra & Mahindra tractor sales disappoint. Hero Moto also expected to post weak sales.
And cement stocks surge on the back of a Bank of America Merrill Lynch report that thinks there's a possible price hike which could be effective today. The management of NCL Industries and industry expert Sanjay Ladiwala say that on ground, the demand is strong.
Big changes ushered into the banking system. A bank's exposure to a conglomerate capped at 25% of its capital. For an individual company, however, exposure is capped at 20% loans over 25% of the bank's net worth to be raised from the market.
All right, with that, let's invite our two experts today. Gaurang Shah and Prakash Gaba join in to answer all the stock queries. Gentlemen, good afternoon to both of you. Our first question is from Mr. Ravi Chandran. He's written to us from Mumbai, and he wants to talk about TCS. So it looks like a big winner to me. He has 250 shares, which he has bought at 721 rupees in the IPO. He's a long-term investor, clearly, and wants to know what he should do. So Gaurang, first to you on this. I don't even understand why he need ask this question unless he was in need of funds, but we don't have him on the line to quiz him about that. But nevertheless, would that be the only reason somebody would look to sell?
Thanks, Subara, and good afternoon to all of you all. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a no-brainer. First of all, our research department does have a coverage on TCS from a long-term point of view. And I don't know whether he has done the addition and division as far as the multiple corporate announcements made by TCS in form of, of course, bonuses and split, etc. So you need to factor in that, and with the kind of dividends that he would have got over the last many years since he's an investor from the IPO days, well, clearly a hold from a long-term point of view. Unless and until you are in need of money, no need to think about selling the stock.
All right, no need of thinking about selling the stock. I completely take your point, Gaurang, on the adjustment with regards to the corporate announcements, bonuses, splits that have taken place. So the IPO price was what he acquired the shares at, 721. But if you adjust for all the splits, that would be worth around 120 rupees. So it's not 721 that has gone to 2,000. It's 120 rupees that has gone to 2,000. And the number of shares have actually increased by a good 4 to 5 times. So he's sitting on much bigger gain than the 3.5-4 lakh rupees that we think it is if you do not adjust for the corporate adjustments. So a lot of money made on TCS. Prakash, would you concur with Gaurang? Just stay put. You're sitting on a lot of money.
Aren't you the early investors also?
Not in TCS.
Okay.
HDFC.
HDFC and IndusInd Bank.
Okay.
But I don't think, no matter what we tell him, he's not going to follow our advice. He's going to stick to it. And that's a better option to do. It's just stick around. His cost is so low. Why worry about the A pedigree stock? Structure is positive. What's the problem? Continue holding it. The more you hold, the more you make money.
All right, the more you hold, the more you make money. And meanwhile, just keep an eye out on the markets. Now, the Nifty has moved to the high point of the day, a century on the Nifty, 400 points on the Sensex, just about 50 points, even 40 points actually, 40 points away from the record high levels. And most of those gains in the last few minutes have been courtesy Reliance. That one should come off for you, the big boy out there. And we have Kotak Mahindra Bank, which has seen a sharp up move. In fact, Kotak Mahindra Bank, after perhaps the adjournment coming in from the Supreme Court, has seen a bit of a relief rally, up around 0.9%. 22nd April is the date that we'll keep an eye out on. The market's just about 40 points away for the Nifty from the record high. We have Mr. Deep San, who calls us from Bengaluru with a query. Mr. San, go ahead.
Hi, thank you for putting me on here. I wanted to have a clear view on UPL. This is for a long term. I don't hold this stock, but I intend to hold this from now on. So my long term view would be around plus 1 year.
Okay.
So want to invest a little bit of more amount on this.
All right. Any particular reason why you've selected UPL?
Yeah, I've been following up this sector, chemical sector. So I've been following up UPL also from close to 5 years. So didn't quite acquire it. So wanted to have a view on this.
All right. Gaurang, for a person who's been tracking UPL for the last 5 years, looking to acquire it, a Arista deal that took place perhaps will improve their financials going forward. But a large part of it, could that be in the price, given the sort of rally that UPL has seen, has been among the strongest stocks on the Nifty this year so far in the last 12 months, gained about 30%. So what would your view on UPL be?
Mangalam, again, you are right. I think somewhere around October 2018, the stock was trading at, I think, 650. I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong. And from there, of course, that was the time, Mangalam, that they acquired one of the companies in the US, if I'm not mistaken. And the market was a little bit upset with the kind of valuation that UPL paid for that acquisition. But again, the entire investment, capex, etc. is now done and dusted. And post that, of course, you saw the rally to close to about 940. So here is the thing, our targets are very close to where the stock price is today. So my advice to him would be that you start investing, don't put all your money at one go. I think elections are lined up, you'll have a lot of choppiness and volatility, and you might see some consolidation or correction in the markets as we approach various dates of election. So that will be an opportunity to go on adding the stock at lower level.
Okay, add the stock at lower levels, and for now, hold on to the investments that you have. Up next, Nikhat Rizvi has written to us from Mumbai. She has 100 shares in the Tata Motors DVR, which she has bought it at 221 odd rupees. She's a long-term investor and wants to know what to do. Gaurang, let me come to you again on this first. Because we had news coming in from JLR today, and the management sounds extremely upbeat regarding their financials going forward. There's, of course, good data from China as well. So would you be a bull or a bear on Tata Motors, and what does the DVR investor do?
So, Subira, we have been very positive on Tata Motors for a fairly long period of time. And even when, the most upsetting numbers came out from Tata Motors for the third quarter, we reviewed our coverage and we maintain a buy call on Tata Motors shares. Of course, Tata Motors DVR, the underlying security is the shares of Tata Motors. So as a part, we definitely are positive. And my sense, Sumera, is that possibly from the fourth quarter and next financial year, second, third quarter, we are likely to see great improvement both on JLR front, and not to forget, the domestic business has seen a lot of traction, and Tata Motors have actually increased their passenger vehicle prices to a certain extent, and commercial vehicle continues to do well. So long term, positive on Tata Motors.
All right, long-term positive on Tata Motors. Meanwhile, March GST collections flashing for you on the screen. Gross GST collections are at 1.06 lakh crores. Over the last few months, they have been at that 1.06 lakh crore itself, or 1 lakh crore thereabout marks. So we'll keep an eye out on how this improves or increases going forward. But as of now, March GST collection data has come in. It's at around 1.06 lakh crores. Do not lose sight of the market. But before we do that, Prakash, your view on Tata Motors and Tata Motors DVR. We've seen some bit of a recovery from 130, 140 levels. 150 seems to be some support.
As far as Tata Motors is concerned, looks to me it's bottomed out. As far as DVR is concerned, the process is right. It's on. I don't think it's falling much from here. So place for buying is right. Since he's holding it for since 220, it's trading around less than half. He can just hold on, A and B add if he wants to. I think it's going up from not much downside.
The I is on the record level, 11,760 thereabouts. We're just about 35 points away from there. And look at Kotak Mahindra Bank. That has been the stock of the last few minutes, up 2% now. In fact, has moved about 2.5–3%. Was in the red for most part of the session until that adjournment news came in terms of the RBI versus Kotak Mahindra Bank case. All eyes on April 22nd, what happens. But as of now, a sigh of relief coming in, up 2%, and taking with it the Nifty Bank as well as the Nifty higher. We have Anand Appan Chakravarti, who calls us from Bengaluru with a query. Good afternoon, Anand. Tell us.
Yeah, yes. Good afternoon. Actually, I'm holding a BHEL 9,000 share at 78.5 per share. So, do you want me to hold or sell or average more if it comes down?
And you bought it from a long-term perspective, or you bought it just for a trade?
I bought it from long-term perspective actually. So, I was adding the units from 105 rupees of BHEL. That is before 1.5 year, I am adding the units.
All right.
From 1.5 year, 1.5 year, I am accumulating it. It pays a good dividend. It pays a good dividend in yearly 2 times. So that's why I was holding this share.
Okay, before we get your query answered, Anandapan, just hang in there. We got some news coming in on United Spirits, McDowell's water. E. coli was found in E. coli bacteria was found in McDowell's packaged water in Jammu and Kashmir. So United Spirits is the stock that should come up for you. Currently at the low point of the day, but this is packaged water, so not accounting for too much in their overall sales mix. However, this is an FSSAI issue, so we'll definitely keep an eye out on what is the next course of action for this. As of now, the street not taking it well. The stock at the low point of the day. E. coli bacteria found in McDowell's packaged water. Packaged water does not account for more than about 10 to 15% of their overall revenue. And this is from J&K Food Commissioner, who's imposed a ban on McDowell's packaged water. Majority of the company's revenue, remember, comes in from alcohol. E. coli bacteria has been found. We'll keep an eye out on how this story pans out as it develops. Definitely a sentiment negative, which is reflected in the stock price right now, which is currently at the low point of the day. But let's go back to our query. Gaurang, your view on BHEL. Our viewer wishes to hold this from a long-term perspective. He's sitting on a 2 rupee loss per share. What would you suggest?
So I think the performance speaks for itself, Mangalam. We do have a hold recommendation, if you will, from our research department on BHEL. And he's been holding the stock for the last 15 months. And it has not really done much, given the fact that we've seen relative, peer comparison companies like L&T do much better than what BHEL is doing. And on the numbers also, Mangalam, the execution of order book seems to be at a very slow pace. Now that's a big concern. You can possibly hold on, or maybe on rallies I would advise him to switch to L&T from a long-term point of view.
Okay, Prakash, you have a call on BHEL?
Certainly. Don't worry. Just hold it. If you want to add it. I like the pattern. It looks like it's bottoming out here. So I won't worry about it. Just continue holding it.
Okay, up next.
I think the target is around closer to 95 to 100 zones. Exit around there.
So that's quite a bit of upside left. Up next, Mr. Anup Sonthalia has written to us from Kolkata. He wants to know the long-term outlook on Asian Paints. So, Gaurang, it's a day for actually to be answering the obvious, but nevertheless, over to you on Asian Paints.
So I think a lot of people would argue, Sumaira, that very richly valued, expensive stock, but we remain positive. I think at about 800 or 1,000, a lot of people felt that it is expensive. The stock is trading close to about 1490, 1500 as we speak. 2-3 concerns that were there was the rising crude oil prices, but our sense, Sumaira, is that crude oil is not likely to stay elevated beyond 70, 75 for a very long time, and you are likely to see a lower trajectory. Secondly, we do expect in the coming quarters contribution as far as high margin products like automotive, industrial and decorative paints are concerned to start contributing to a great extent. So maybe if you are invested, you can stay invested. If you're not, don't put all your money at current level. Phase it out over the downturns that you will get in the markets and go on adding at lower levels.
All right, he wanted to know about the long-term outlook for Asian Paints, Gaurang. I'll just put some numbers. 1 year ago, the stock was at around 1100. 3 years ago, it was at around 900. And if I go all the way back to 2002, the stock was at 24 rupees. So 24 rupees turning into 1500 if he held it for the long term. Thank you, Prakash and Gaurang, for stopping by and answering all our viewers' queries. And we hand it over to closing bell, what promises to be a very, very exciting closing bell, given the fact that the Nifty is just about 35 points away from the record high. Thank you for watching.